Hello, guys. I hope you're doing good. A couple of weeks ago, when I posted that my wife got the PR finally, many people were asking in the Dream Abroad Canada Facebook group that what was the process, what was the timeline. So I thought I should make a detailed video about it. When we were applying the PR, almost everybody told us that it's almost impossible to get the visitor visa, but we managed to get that. She got the visitor visa, she got the work permit, and she also got the PR finally, and all of that without any immigration consultant or lawyer. So how did I manage to get all of that? What was the timelines? What was the problems and what mistakes did I actually do? We'll talk all about that in this video. It's going to be very interesting, but if I talk here, it's going to be very difficult for me because my mouth is already started to freeze. I should go back home. The flurries have already started. When I came out, I thought it would be really awesome if I shoot with this view in my background, but it's actually difficult to shoot and speak while I'm here. It's probably minus 10 degrees or something. You can probably see some of the parts of the river is already frozen. So let me go back home. So we are back at home, and while I'm sipping the coffee, I can start the discussion. Okay, so let me start with the background, a short story about ourselves. So basically, I was here in Canada and she was there in India. We got married on January 2019, so it's been 2 years. Okay, just like any other married couple, we wanted to stay together, start a new life together here in Canada. I had the Canadian PR, but she did not have any visa. So we thought that, okay, she could get the visitor visa and the PR. Now we'll talk about the visitor visa, but let's talk about the PR a little, and then we'll talk about PR in detail as well. So talking about PR, there were two options. She could have applied through the express entry system, or she could have applied through the spousal sponsorship. Now, why we chose spousal sponsorship? Because we thought, why to take that pain of studying for IELTS, going through multiple attempts to get your desired bands, then get your WS evaluations done, then waiting for the right draw to happen for you. We thought, why to take all of that pain and worries? We'll just go with the spousal PR, and at the same time, while the application is in progress, if she could get the visitor visa, nothing better. So that is what we followed. Now, the idea behind applying the visitor visa is that while her PR application is in progress, she can here be with me on a visitor visa. But eventually, when you think of both of those routes, there are three different options. Let's talk about that in detail. Now, when I'm talking about us, I'm just quoting us as general example. Any couple with a similar situation would have three different options. The first option is to get the visitor visa before marriage, and then the spouse actually lands in Canada and get the spousal PR, which will be an inland PR. And then the second option was that after she gets married, then she could apply for the visitor visa, and then once she lands in Canada, then we can apply for the spousal PR, which would again be an inland application. Then the third option was that after getting married, we could apply for the spousal PR first and then apply for the visitor visa so that she would come and live with me in Canada. Okay, let's talk about the visitor visa first. The safest bet is to get the visitor visa before marriage because there wouldn't be any contradiction. Basically, behind applying the visitor visa, the motive is that the person would come here in Canada and then they would eventually go back. But the PR says something different. PR means that you would stay here indefinitely. You would stay here permanently, which means that if you're applying for the visitor visa and the PR at the same time, then you're contradicting yourself. So applying the visitor visa before getting married is the safest bet, but in our case, we could not do it. Unfortunately, her father passed away just a few months before the marriage, so she was not in that mental condition that she could, get that all of those things done. So we thought that eventually we will actually apply the visitor visa after getting married. Now there were two options. We could have applied for the visitor visa before applying the PR, or we could have applied the visitor visa after applying the PR. Now it is said that in both the options there are very less chances that the person would actually get the visitor visa. Thanks to the blessings of all of you guys, our parents and all the loved ones, we got the visa. How we actually managed to get the visitor visa? So we thought that, okay, there are very less chances in both the cases, but if we apply the visitor visa before applying the PR, there are slightly higher chances, so we took that chance. We applied the visitor visa before applying the PR. And also we did not want to waste that crucial time, because we knew that getting the PR would take time, and we wanted to start that application pretty early as well. So we thought that we'll take that one chance, and there was no scope of any error. I had three important points in my mind. Number one was showing the right intention, that after staying here for 1 or 2 months, she would eventually go back to India. The second point we made sure is that we both had some money in our account. So in her Indian account, she had around 2.5 to 3 lakh rupees. And I also had some money in my Canadian account. So I could show that I can also take care of her, and she can also take care of herself. This was the second point. And the third point is that building up the travel history. That is also very important, guys, because she did not have any travel history of going outside of India. So I wanted to make sure that we build up that kind of travel history. So we planned our trip to Europe so that she has a couple of stamps on her passport. That also gives the visa officer a kind of assurance that, okay, when the person moves out of their home country, they do actually come back to their home country. They do what they promise. So yes, everything said and done, we finally got her visitor visa after all of those steps, and we were really excited, really happy. She came here to Canada, and then the journey to her PR actually started. When she came here, we were really happy that we could finally make it. We actually made the impossible possible. We got the visitor visa even when almost everyone was saying that, okay, getting the visitor visa is almost impossible in that particular scenario. We were really happy, and we started spending good time together. We started going here and there to Montreal, to Toronto, every now and then. And why I'm telling you all of this? Because during all of that, something very important we forgot. We forgot to actually apply the PR. Obviously, we didn't actually forget it. It was there at the back of our minds, but we were a lot complacent, and that was the biggest mistake. We wasted 2 or 3 months actually before we actually applied the PR. If we had actually saved those 3 months time, we would have got the PR much earlier, because the COVID thing actually started and the processing times got even longer. We'll talk about it later in this video. So basically, when she started her journey here in Canada, she was on a visitor visa, so she did not have the authority to work in Canada. And I used to go to work, so it was very frustrating for her. So we thought that, okay, we'll apply the open work permit. Thankfully, when we apply for these inland spousal sponsorship, we have that option that we can apply for the open work permit for a spouse as well. So we applied for the open work permit as well. Now, after spending a couple of months together, we thought that, okay, we should finally apply for the PR now. When we started picking up those forms, we realized that, okay, this is a paper process. I knew about that earlier, but I did not know that it is such a complicated process. Guys, you know me. I won't go now to any immigration consultant or any immigration lawyer to apply for the spousal PR or the work permit or the tourist visa. So I had to apply all of this on my own, and now I was a lot confused because this was a paper application. The resources to complete all of those applications, the information available on the internet was certainly not enough, because the application process and the application itself was a lot confusing. But yes, the number one mistake that we did is that we wasted a lot of time, around 2-3 months before we started that application. And when we picked up that application, we thought that we could complete it in 1 week time and send it across, but it actually took me more than a month to fill up those forms, pull that up in a proper format. The bundle actually got this thick. It was really difficult for me to put everything up in one place and send it across. And yes, this is a complicated process, guys. A friend of mine who was also kind of complacent that he would be easily able to do it. He was really frustrated when he actually sent it out. He was like, God, it feels like I finally passed the exam. At least I've submitted the exam. Let's wait for the results now. It was such a frustrating process because the paper application is even more complicated. It's not at all easy. So please don't do that mistake that we did. Don't waste any time. Maybe when your spouse comes here, you wait for a week or so, but after that, start filling up that application. It will take you 3 to 4 weeks or maybe a month to complete that application. Okay, I think that was enough to explain you the complexity of this process. Having said and done, thankfully we sent everything, cross-checked everything. When we sent it, we got the package back after 1 month. Would you believe the complete package? We got it after 1 month in our mailbox once again. I was really upset when I saw that in my mailbox. I thought, I don't know what mistake have I done. And guys, would you guess what mistake was that? We miss one signature. Just that one mistake. We did miss one signature. Actually, in the complete package, there was only one form where it was mentioned that you should type in your name and you should sign there as well. We thought that if we are typing our name, then signing is not required, but sign was also required next to the name, and there was only one example of that kind in the complete application package of this much thick paper bundle. So you can think of that situation that we missed that one signature and they've sent the package back to us. We go back to the queue. Now 5 months have wasted and we haven't even submitted our application. Now she signed it and we sent it immediately, and then it was 1 more month when we got the AOR. Now because she was here, so we had this opportunity that we could apply for a visitor record. What is a visitor record? Visitor records gives you the ability to stay in Canada on a work permit, on a visitor visa, if you have a legitimate reason behind it. So we told that, okay, our application, our PR application is in progress, so she wants to stay back here. So even after the timeline for a visitor visa expired, which was 6 months, she could stay back here. And while awaiting the decision for the visitor record, she got her open work permit. So this was a turning point. The timeline was that we actually submitted it in around October. Then, as I told you, our package got returned. So in mid of November, we sent it back again. Then after that, we submitted the visitor record. And while awaiting for that decision, after 3 or 4 months in the mid of March, she got her work permit, the open work permit. But just then the lockdown got started, and obviously because of the fears, we were not comfortable that she should go out and start working during that initial phase of the corona lockdown time. So she could not work then, but after a few months when things got a bit better, she started working. But eventually, after 11 months, she got her PR. Now, many people say that generally these timelines are not the case. Before COVID, people used to get the PR within 6 months or so. But this time it was a lot different. The processing times of every application almost increased by few months. But finally, guys, she got her PR, and I thought that I should tell this story to you, the problems that we faced, the mistakes that we did. Even after knowing the application, the process so well, we did some mistakes, and I obviously don't want you guys to repeat that mistake. So thanks a lot, guys. This was all the story, the timeline, the problems, mistakes, process, everything that I wanted to share with you. If you like the video, please click the thumbs up button. If you have any queries, please put it down in the comment section below. And if you have any feedback as well, I would love to know your feedback. Please put that down in the comment section below as well. And yes, if you haven't subscribed the channel yet, please do not forget to subscribe this channel, Dream Abroad.